You're listening to the Shipyard Cat Podcast, the unofficial SAFC podcast for fans everywhere.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the pod. We're here today to talk about that lovely comeback victory at home against Crystal Palace, where it finished 2-1 to us. We'll go in to break it down, talk about the goals, everything like that, and all the in between. More than likely, Robin will go off on a few tangents, but hey, where would we be without them? So joining me tonight to discuss this, we have Kev and we've got Robin. How are we doing today, Robin?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Obviously I was a bit sick yesterday and tired and that, so I didn't actually even make the trip up for the match and that, unfortunately. But yeah, much better today and that. So yeah, great win. So, we go on and go forward.
Yeah, definitely, mate. It seems like Crystal Palace has turned into one of those teams that you don't want to see this season or next season, possibly.
Well, it was just bizarre, wasn't it? I mean, it was after that I, ended up in hospital, and then, it gets the reverse fixture, and I'm just not feeling well enough to travel 600 miles.
Exactly. And Kev, likewise, how are you today, mate?
Yeah, all good. I made it to the match. I was there. I enjoyed it. Obviously, yeah, I know, Robin, to be fair, with you being a bit unwell, probably the last thing in your mind was making that journey just in case. But yeah, I mean, look, that's yet another game where we've come from behind to win. It just shows that dogged, never give up till the end kind of mentality the lads have got. Just runs deep, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Let's kick off straight away then in regards to the whole entire game. So the crowd from minute one, straight away, as we predicted, they'd be in fine voice, singing and chanting and cheering every tackle that the lads did. Obviously, to me, personally speaking, the goal from them was against the run of play. We were doing well. We just couldn't capitalise on a final ball to get it in the back of the net. It just felt it was coming, if that makes sense, when they just put a little bit of pressure on. I think we all said in the group chat as well, didn't we, that Crystal Palace's counter-attack on football is very high up there. Your take on that, guys, of like their goal? We'll talk about them first.
Well, I mean, it's typical Palace. They're a very, very dangerous counter-attacking team. I mean, Mateta had opportunities earlier on. There was obviously one that Ruffs had saved, where he'd got through. I mean, anything after the goal just for sort of like half time, I mean, he unleashed a thunderbolt. Luckily, it was offside.
Mm-hmm.
They are that sort of team. I mean, I know there's talk of him moving on in this window because obviously there's a bit of unrest at Palace. To be honest, he's a player that I wouldn't mind getting hold of.
Yeah.
I mean, it was against the run of play, in fairness, their first, their goal, because that just seemed to be the way it was. We seemed to be all over them. And then out of nowhere, bang, it's 1-0. But that is the sort of damage that a team like Palace can do to you. I mean, Mateta's absolutely a threat. It's just, thankfully, like you said a minute ago there, Robin, on that second goal, he was offside because that'd have been a tough game to come back after that. But yeah, it's one of those where the lads sort of, what I liked was when that goal went in, the lads just went, it's going to get given, get to the centre circle, let's move on. They didn't get caught up in a will it, won't it kind of moment. They just got on with it. And obviously, Palace went and ran to the corner, celebrated, then slowly dawdled their way back. And for me, that was what the lads needed because as soon as we kicked off after their goal, the lads just got on with it.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than moping around, they just dug in straight away. And obviously, what was it? 2 minutes later, we were back in it.
Yeah. And it was once again that man again, Enzo. I said in the preview I wouldn't mind an Enzo goal, and lo and behold, it happened. For me, the thing for me in that goal, in that build-up, was Robbie. Robbie was the one that was everywhere this week. The hold-up play that he's got, it just, I think you've touched on it before, Robin. Just that's one of Robbie's major things, his sheer strength to hold up players and bully them off the ball, really.
I mean, that's what they want, though, isn't it? You know, he's up front, he's physical, he's strong, he's dominant. I know you passed that to Robin there, but I'll quickly jump in before he does. Makes a change.
Makes a change.
But for me, the biggest frustration I had was how many times Robbie was getting bullied, tackled unfairly, shoved off the ball. But because he's a big physical number 9, the referee went, yeah, that's fine, play on. And I'm sorry, but that happens to Gyökeres. That happens to Isak when he's when he's back from injury and stuff. And it's always the same. It gets given as a foul. But because Robbie's a little bit more physical than they maybe are, the referee just says, no, he can handle it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he did really well, to be fair. And the interesting thing for me was when he went down in the box later on in the game, and was it Lacroix was sort of like, obviously he ended up with a really badly ripped shirt, but he was like, oh, well, he's held on to me, ref. He's held on to me, ref. Well, yeah, but you've also had your hands full of his shirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Robin, your turn now, mate.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, I don't know why it hadn't come to me considering you were at the match and I wasn't, but, you know, I've just seen limited highlights. You know, yeah, look, Robbie he's a physical beast. You know, he puts himself about. His hold-up play, I've never seen anybody be able to hold the ball up like he can. But I think you're right, it is a bit unfair because they expect too much of him, and when he is fouled, he's not getting the free kicks.
Yeah.
You know, and you see it all the time. You see defenders holding shirts. I mean, how many times have we said about, you know, Luke and stuff, you know, about us being worried when he's on the pitch because he likes to grab hold of shirts? I mean, look, from a coaching point of view, you tell your defenders to do that. You do. You tell your defenders to keep them close. And you see it. And your attackers as well, you tell them to make sure you got the defender there. Make sure you've got a handful of him. Make sure you can keep him at arm's length. So quite often you'll see an attacker with his hand on the defender's chest with a handful of shirt there, holding him away. You know, that's what you're taught. That's what you teach the kids to do from an early age. Because if you don't, someone else does. And it's one of those sides of the game that they're allowed to get away with, and they've always been allowed to get away with that. You know, as long as it's not like, you know, pulling someone back all the time, that close contact where you can hold somebody and stuff like that, or feel somebody out, as it used to be called, and things, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But the ref's got to be consistent and say, yeah, they're both doing it, but when there's a foul, give a foul. I mean, you go back to, or let's not go back, let's go forward. To the penalty involving, or the penalty shout involving Mundell.
Yeah.
That's a penalty all day long. I mean, that was straight into his back. There's no attempt to play the ball whatsoever. He wiped out the play. Now, you take that to the week before against Everton. Obviously, that was shoulder to shoulder and the player dived on the floor. Mundell actually got battered. And then, what, a minute later or something like that? You know, not even that. 30 seconds later, the ball comes in and Mundell just touches the defender and the defender goes down as a free kick.
Yeah.
So, you know, the attacker got absolutely battered in the back, nothing given, lays a fingernail on defender and it's a free kick. You know, consistency plays referees.
Yeah. It's a horrible thing to see the way things just sometimes go for you, sometimes don't go for you. It's just, we could rant and rave, I think, as we've said in the past, on for a full pod on referee decisions, really, couldn't we? But Yeah.
I mean, I'll just quickly say there and that. I mean, look, we won the game. You know, we should have scored more goals than what we did.
Yeah.
But we're still talking about referees not being consistent and not making the decisions that they should do. Now, yeah, it didn't affect us this week because we got the 3 points. But in a way, if that penalty is given and we get the third and we go 3-1 up, they're going to press again higher to try and get back into it. Might open up more spaces. We might get the fourth and fifth. Then our goal difference goes up. So even though we've won, the lack of consistency in these decisions is having an effect on our season.
Okay, yeah. Do you want to touch on that, Kev?
No, I mean, yeah, like we said, we don't want to turn this into rants and moans every week, and it's not. You know, we came away with 3 points, but Robin's absolutely spot on. The poor decision making on occasions like that can sometimes be the difference for a team staying up, going down, you know, winning a trophy, not winning a trophy, qualifying for Europe. Later on in the season, that, like Robin said, the goal difference there, if that had finished a draw, those 2 points, it's massive changes, isn't it? I mean, yeah, we could talk about more interesting things, you know, the fact that Palace couldn't make any substitutions and the fact Glasner's lost his head. And the fact that, you know, in his post-match interview, he comes around and goes, "Oh, I've got a bench full of kids. I didn't know what to do." We've been there. We feel his pain. Do you know what I mean? But
we're
yeah,
still there.
for me, it's one of those sort of scenarios where the game did exactly what I said it would.
Yeah.
It would be a Palace start, and we would have to come from behind, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah,
exactly.
and obviously I shared the little reel of it as well on the pod that Keno does with Jill Scott and stuff. She actually predicted exactly the same thing in their match predictions. That Palace would score first and we come back. So yeah, look, well done, Kev. You got it spot on.
Yeah.
You know, it's
If I was a betting man.
yeah. Yeah, if you're a betting man, you put money on it and it never happens. That's just a general rule of things, you know. It's but yeah, I mean, like you say, I mean, it's funny how Glasson never mentioned that, you know, Adam Wharton should have had a second yellow card.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but you say things like that. But obviously, Adam Wharton's not going to get second yellow cards now because he plays for England.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, so obviously you both have touched on that. Obviously, they came out of the blocks and obviously got that goal. Then we're looking to our goal, which we Kev just loosely touched on that before. Just obviously, Enzo got the first goal for us, which, to be fair, for me, as I was saying before, Robbie's attention to detail, so to speak, to know that Enzo's there behind him, to dummy the ball, to not go for it himself, to then obviously get let Enzo just effectively tap that in. Very good finish to put it that far in the corner, when I can speak, that far in the corner with that precision as well to go past Henderson. And then Robbie's winning goal, like, that was on his weaker foot again, wasn't it? And the fact being that, don't get me wrong, I thought he was completely wiped out afterwards because the way he went down, just holding his leg, I was like, oh no, that's the end of Robbie. But obviously, we've probably all seen the clip now from the club, seeing the goal, the laughs and the smiles of just the lads just having a laugh at poor Robbie's expense while he's in pain. And I think it's Nori just trying to get them all just to be like, yeah, congratulate him. And he's just laughing his head off. And Siddiqui runs over and just pointing and laughing. I'm like, I like the camaraderie, lads, but help him up.
I mean, you see it in the videos of it. You see his leg cramping up.
Yeah.
I mean, but what a finish!
Yeah.
What an absolute finish that was. I mean, obviously, I saw the result and stuff, and it was like, you know, following it on Sky Sports Saturday sort of thing, you know, as you're doing and going to it and that. But it's just like when I watched it back, even though I know, because obviously the description of the goal, you know, sort of like, you know, somehow flicked it over Henderson with his right foot. But when you see the ball break in the video and like watching it back, you expect him to hit that with his left foot.
Mhm.
You know, how he managed to do that, I don't know. I mean, it's like his little, reverse sort of flick against Arsenal.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that the goals are coming for the lad now.
Yeah.
And Enzo as well. We need to start scoring more goals. Unfortunately, that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
We do exactly that. In fairness, from the ground, it did. It looked like it was going over.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, it was the sort of like it looked like it went over, and then the next thing you hear is just the crowd erupt at the Roker end, and it was like, oh, it went in, and that's obviously when it then obviously erupted. Um, from where I sit, all I looked at was just Regis. Honestly, my favorite part of the game now, when we score, is Regis's reaction. They should, in future, just put a camera on him for his reactions because he is hilarious. The man is the most calm man in the world during the game. When he's giving his instructions, he's doing whistles, which obviously have meanings to the lads because you can't shout and hear it and understand it. But yeah, when the goals go in, he just erupts. He's like a little volcano, and then he just goes, right, calm down, and then he moves on again. But I was absolutely buzzing for Robbie. What Robin said a minute ago about the Mundle incident, yeah, I agree that probably should have been a pen, but we were never going to get given a decision like that. We never do. We're not the lucky ones when I don't want to sound negative, but we don't get that kind of luck. We clatter into the back of someone like that, and it's a penalty. We've had it in previous seasons. But yeah, when it happens to us, it's simulation.
Yeah. No, so that's the thing for me when it comes to stuff like that. I'm just in a massive agreement. There's the only thing I can say is I'm in agreement with you both that the consistency needs to be there instead of 1 week it's given, the next week it's not. That's the top and bottom of it, isn't it? Really, if you're going to give it 1 week, you need to give it all the time.
That's the Premier League, though.
Yeah,
it is very much a case of 1 week it's given, 1 week it's not, and that's the one thing I will say is how many times did VAR appear not to get involved? I was pleased with how quickly it was automated for the Mateta offside, but everything else, it was like they weren't even there.
Yeah, it is one of those things that.
Yeah, well, so on the Sky Gillette Soccer Saturday thing, it's like they said, "Oh, this should be a penalty," and then within seconds it's cleared, and it's like when it takes what 6 minutes one day to decide if someone's offside, which is a black and white decision, and yet something like that, and everyone has said it, that was a penalty. For the VAR to decide so quick, it's not. It just shows in a way that I don't want to get into the rant about ex-players and stuff and, their righteousness of who has an opinion or who can have an opinion on the game because you didn't play it at the highest level, blah, blah, blah. But it shows that these referees that haven't played the game really don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. I'll give you that offside one massively because, as you said there, it took 6 minutes for the one that I know you're talking about, but then the next day it happened the exact same thing, and it was given. And it was just like, how can one game take 6 minutes, and this one was just cleared within 30 seconds? It makes no sense.
You look at the Florian Wirtz thing, where they're meant to have a 5 centimetre leeway, so they came out with. When they're gifting Liverpool a goal, but then, twice now, Man City against visitors, they've got variable VAR decisions that never were.
Yeah, exactly. It's strange, but let's not talk about it all the time because we know we may get shouted at from people if we just talk about refs all week. Obviously, during the announcement, obviously, of the lads coming out and things like that beforehand, it was announced our new signing. I'm not going to even pronounce the team where he's came from, but it's Jocelyn Tarby. not to be confused with Shamsuddin Talbi. But I loved somebody putting on, I think it was Twitter the other day, saying it's going to be fun in a few years when you look at our right wing, Shamsuddin Talbi, and the left wing is Jocelyn Tarby. And as far as I'm aware, the chant is going to be exactly the same from what I've seen.
The only person
But
that's going to
lads,
get confused, mate, it's you.
probably 100%. We know this is going to happen.
I was gonna say, Adam, I think this is really a you thing.
But no, it was only what 3.5 million, so he was ridiculously cheap. But from obviously what we've heard is he's only 20-year-old, but he's one-on-ones. He loves to get past people really quick. So it's somebody the club's clearly been looking at possibly for a while and went, we can utilize this talent. Do we see him featuring possibly this season? I know that's what he's been bought for, but do we see him coming on for, say, likes of a Mundell?
I was under the understanding that he was bought for next season, to be honest. I thought he's been brought in, but he's a development player at the moment.
All right, okay.
You know, I know they're sort of like rumoured, they're saying he's sort of like, you know, we've got a bit of a bargain because he's rumoured to be worth about 30 million.
Right.
Obviously, Celtic had gone in for him, but, you know, being a big club in a minnow of a league doesn't get you players.
Yeah, true.
You know, and I might upset a few Celtic fans there because they do think that if they're in the Premier League, they'd win it within a season or something like that. But yeah, he's one for the future. I think you know the unless there's any problems that we've got with injuries. I mean, you think obviously we've got a Dingra, we've got Mundell, you know, we've got Talby.
Yeah.
You know, Enzo can play out wide. Eastal can play out wide. You know, there's players there that we don't really need to think about bringing someone in that isn't quite ready yet. I think let's give the lads 6 months to settle in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the plan, and we'll go from there.
Exactly what I think they'll do with him. I think he'll end up probably featuring maybe in a cup game or two, depending on how we get on. It might even get used in the unders just to get used to the sort of style of football and see how we go. I mean, yeah, it's very much been discussed as a player for the future. One of the things they obviously did say is that apparently Celtic pulled out of it because he's possibly got an injury. I don't know how true that is or not because he's obviously passed his Sunderland medical with flying colours. So you've got to wonder. But, you know, we've done this before where we've got players with minor injuries. And then we've even, well, to be fair, we've even sent the likes of Diarra off for surgeries and stuff. And then they're ready to go eventually. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, he's a player for the future. He looks, you know, from the clips whenever a signing happens, you always see 1,001 montages appear on YouTube, don't you? So, from what I've seen on YouTube, he looks good.
Yeah, I mean, I have heard that he has got to go for a minor operation, which is going to keep him out of the team for a little bit of time anyway. So, hence why he's one for next season.
Gotcha.
Nice little segue though, Kev. Timur Tudorov scoring on his debut for Exeter.
Yeah.
You know, obviously the young lads, you know, obviously Trey Samuel Logan-Sui went to Shrewsbury the week before, played in there or came on as a sub in their FA Cup defeat, he started and played 83 minutes of their game at the weekend. You know, so obviously these are players which we're putting out on loan now, which again more for the future, which can only really be a good thing.
Yeah, 100%. I think Tima is going to be. He's just going to get more and more of a handful, isn't he? Just the way his play style is just crazy to see how fast he is, and two, he looks always confident on the ball when he's trying to put it past the keeper, doesn't he?
Yeah, I'll jump in then, Kev, if you're looking a bit blank at the screen there. Yeah,
I was hoping it'd be you, Robin, because you know a little bit more about him.
I mean, it's not only him. I mean, obviously coming through the youngers, you've obviously they're the sort of like technically the sort of like year below rather than the 21s and the 18s, but you got obviously young Finn Garagusian, who's another one, and then obviously Marcus Neal, who's virtually a baby still. So yeah, the forward line and what we've got coming through looks pretty good. We are a club now, which I think we're known for the development and the pathway into the first team is what we've done, but we're also looking at now of maybe trying to bring in some of the players from other academies and stuff and try and, snatch them and steal them in and integrate them, because it's slightly different. I think the way the model's going to change now, because we can't just go with what we were doing of bringing in the talented youngsters, playing them and selling them on. Sustainability's there, and that's what sort of technically what Brighton are doing. But Brighton spent quite a lot of money on Tommy Watson, from us, because obviously they probably see him as a, few years and then they can make a bit more money from him, etc.
Yeah.
But for us as well, we've got to look at it that we don't want to be selling our best players as such. And obviously, if we've identified players and we've got players within that squad who we feel are, I mean, Tommy's a bit of a different situation because obviously he wanted to go, he was young, etc. And at the time we were in the Championship. But I think now if we're looking at, we're identifying these targets and bringing in these targets. So, we are going to, not necessarily take a risk, but I can see the level of player coming in being slightly higher. I mean, this Jocelyn Tarby, by all accounts, is the next Amad Diallo, for the Ivory Coast. So, they rate him that highly.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what they've came out and said at the minute. That's the strongness of what he can potentially reach the dizzy heights to. I'm trying to think, is there anything I'm missing from this weekend's game? I don't think there is. Can you guys think of anything I may have missed this game, or anything that's been announced that I haven't seen?
Not that I can think
Not
of.
really. I mean, the only thing is you could possibly look at possible outgoing rumours. Obviously the rumours, Patterson was heavily linked with a move to Millwall, but he was still on the bench on Saturday.
Yeah.
Dan Neil. I honestly think Dan Neil's seen out his contract and he's going to go abroad for free in the summer, get a bigger signing on bonus, higher wages.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things. Yes, I'd like to get some money for him. Is he at the highest level of the Premier League? We're bringing Granit Xhaka. You've got to say, I'm afraid not.
Yeah, exactly. It is true. And obviously, based on time of recording tonight, obviously it is the AFCON final. Obviously, time of recording, Senegal are winning 1-0. But obviously after that means we're going to get Diarra coming back home, and we're going to get Talby coming back home. What's the one thing I will touch on? I know we'll probably cover it more when we talk about the West Ham build-up. But are we thinking they will come back in the fold, or do you think let them come back, rest, train, and see how they are first before putting them back in the squad?
You're going to need to let them rest. I mean, they've played a tournament that's not enamoured for its ability, but is very physical. Do you know what I mean? It's been the final that I've been watching, it's been very scrappy and very scruffy. Obviously, I know neither of them have played in this final, but it's still going to have taken it out of them because the time that they have been playing, it is rough football.
Yeah.
But like you say, it's then travelling back, it's getting back into the routine, and like you say, then getting back into their positions. It's just good that we're not on a Saturday, Tuesday kind of schedule. They'll hopefully be ready to go for the weekend, or at least be back in the squad for the weekend. But I think, Dan Neil, it's a difficult one. Could we try and get, him out the window now? Yes, but it's got to work for everybody. And it feels very much a situation where it might work for us as a club, but I feel the player might not want it to happen because, like Robin said, there might be a little bit more in it financially if he doesn't. But yeah, Patterson, from what I've seen online, the talk is that it's going to be likely to be Millwall, but wages are the problem. We want 100% contribution. Millwall don't want to pay 100%. So it's that kind of how much are you willing to pay, I suppose. But yeah, I don't think there's really anyone else at the moment. Obviously, you could talk about, where's Abdullah Bar, where's, what's happening with Emir, but they'll just hopefully disappear off the wage bill somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I mean, Emir's back in Portugal, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, Emir's back in Portugal for I think it's like a League 2 side over there, I think, or League 1 side. And then you've got the likes of Nasri Rusin, who randomly popped up on my newsfeed today on the socials. He's looking to further his loan spell still over there as well, where he is. So
he's on loan in Poland, but there's talk of him going back to Ukraine on a permanent deal. So someone's looking to buy him.
Oh, see, on the report I was reading, he wanted to stay in Poland on loan, and then make his move.
No, he is on loan in Poland, and there's a Ukrainian Premier League team looking to buy him.
Yeah.
So he'd be going back. So that's that. I mean, it's look, there's going to be incomings and outgoings now. I think probably more than what we'd expect. I think it's going to be tough at times because we're going to get players which we're not going to want to go, but we're going to be offered silly amounts of money. Yeah. And also as well with the way that agents are and things. I mean, look, the likes of Noah Siddiqui, there's big teams looking at him. And it's going to be hard to keep hold of somebody like that when someone's dangling that Champions League carrot and £250,000 a week in front of you. Yeah,
exactly. That's the point, isn't it? But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, because as you said, there's going to be lots of ins and outs. Obviously, we'll bring our thoughts on that as and when they happen. But other than that, lad, I think we'll just wrap it up. Robin, thanks for joining me tonight, mate. Means a lot.
No, thank you, Adam.
Thanks to you, Kev.
Yeah, no, my pleasure, mate. You're one of these people, I think, you read just half of the article, don't you? I think that's where the problem comes. You read, this happens, name one of the many countries, one of the many teams. Yeah, that'll do.
I think what it is, when you get the pictures pop up trying to get you onto another thing, and like the pop-ups, I think Adam just scrolls by that and misses half of it.
Probably.
Maybe. But yeah, at least you're here to correct him, mate. That's the main thing.
Hey, excuse me. I pronounced the player's name right. Let's get something right. But no, lads, it's a pleasure as always. Everyone else listening in, it means the world that you guys listen in. Pass your thoughts and understandings and questions to us. All the merrier. And as ever, everyone, we'll see you on the next one.